things that you could not do before. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
The entire East Coast. Instead, he spent last night yucking it up with Paul McCartney at the White House. And from the looks of it, the two spent the evening praising each other a lot.
Over the 4 decades since, Paul McCartney has not let up. Touring the world with the band Wings or on his own, rocking everything from small halls to Super Bowls. He's composed hundreds of songs over the years.
I mean, getting this prize would just be good enough, but getting it from this president?
Well, isn't that lovely? Now, meanwhile, the people in the Gulf continue to suffer. And given the way Mr. Obama berated the federal government's handling of the Katrina disaster, you would think he'd be a little more scrupulous attending to the current crisis. Now, let's take a look at what the president had to say.
I always think that their comments are fair. We can't respond quickly in a situation where we have a lot of notice, where we have several days in which we see a hurricane building. Then how are we going to respond if a dirty bomb goes off in a major U.S. city? We have an obligation to investigate what went wrong and to determine what reforms are needed so that we never have to experience a crisis like this again.
All right, pretty unbelievable. And joining me now with reaction to this and the oil spill that continues to spread on our southern coast are Louisiana Senator David Vitter and from Venice, Louisiana, Plaquemines Parish President Billy Nungesser. Guys, welcome to the program. Well, Billy,
thank you.
Good to be with you, Sean.
First of all, our prayers go out to the people of Louisiana, the entire Gulf Coast, and frankly up the eastern seaboard where this oil is headed. Billy, let me start with you. You know, I'm watching the president. He has time for concerts. He has time for state dinners. He has time for golf. He has time for basketball photo ops. He's very critical of the president during Katrina. Are you concerned at the lack of diligence and attention and urgency this White House has shown?
Well, you know, we were pretty frustrated. You've seen me the last couple of weeks. But, well, you know, after yesterday's decision to make BP pay for these berms, I got to tell you, he stepped up to the plate there, and hopefully BP will follow through and pay for these berms. The only thing,
Billy,
the only thing that'll protect coastal Louisiana, and we got to see that project through.
Billy,
so
here's my question. He was one of the most outspoken critics after Katrina. All right, we had 3 days notice this thing's coming. 45 days later, we can't use chemical disbursements. We can't get the barriers that the governor wanted. The booms haven't been delivered. Equipment hasn't been delivered. They didn't follow through with the pre-approved burn plan that was in place. Are you saying that now all of a sudden, because you got the BP gets to pay, that's all that's all that satisfies you after you've been so critical?
No, absolutely not. We've got a long way to go in this thing. Absolutely not. You know, we still haven't cleaned up the oil that the governor and I was out for the last 2 weeks. BP is still dropping the ball, and we're still trying to figure out who's on the ground in charge. So absolutely not.
All right,
but,
let me go to the senator.
Go ahead.
Senator, we're destroying the fishing industry, destroying the tourism industry, the beaches. Every request, we see what's happening to the environment and wildlife, which breaks your heart. And it seems to me that the administration, every effort that there's been in place, that they have acquiesced to the environmental movement, and they've been beyond slow in terms of reacting and showing, in my mind, no urgency. What's your reaction?
Well, Sean, I agree. Look, this is an emergency situation, a crisis, and it needs to be handled on a wartime footing with that sort of response. And there has not been that tone set by the president. There has not been that level of response by either the federal agencies or BP. Everybody on the coast gets it, like Billy, like Louisianians. They are on a wartime footing, but still not the federal agencies and not BP.
Yeah, all right. I want to put up on our screen the landmass that we're talking about here. And we've known about this now every single day. This is how much landmass would be covered with this oil spill. This is the impact area total that we're talking about here, which is unbelievably massive. And you know, I guess, look, Rahm Emanuel, I mean, you're talking about all of New England here. You know, Rahm Emanuel said it, Hillary said it, Senator, and the president himself said it. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Now the president's talking about using this to stop offshore drilling, and on the one hand, and to advance his cap and tax policies.
Well, and Sean, I'm very concerned about this moratorium on the Gulf. You know, the recession is bad. The oil crisis makes it worse in terms of lost jobs. But this moratorium on top of that is costing us more jobs and making the pain even worse and worse than it has to be. I'm suggesting directly to the administration that they do emergency, very quick, very rigorous testing of deep water platforms, inspections, but don't shut everything down. Don't shut these 33 deep water drilling rigs down.
Yeah.
Inspect them, be very rigorous, but only shut down if there's an issue on an individual rig. Don't cost us jobs with that overreaction.
Well, I saw your press release on this. Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana, also said, you know, we're talking about thousands and thousands of Louisiana jobs that would be lost here. I guess, Billy, I go back to, okay, there's going to be plenty of time. The administration wasted no time in sending lawyers down there. There's going to be a lot of payment from BP. They have 24,000 people, as I understand it, that they've hired to help contain this and clean this up and stop this. Everything they've tried to this point has stopped. Here's my point. The federal government, why aren't they allowing the burning? Why aren't they allowing the chemical disbursements? Why are they still slow in giving the state of Louisiana the equipment that they've asked for from day one?
Well, let me tell you, right now they're clearing land to put a camp for 1,500 people. I found out about it through the contractor. I have no idea what these 1,500 people are going to do. They can't walk out here in the marsh and clean it up.
But Billy, I didn't ask you that. If the federal government is not going to allow a burn plan, chemical disbursements, if they're not going to give the equipment that the governor and Senator Vitter have been asking for, at what point are they culpable in this as well as BP?
Well, you're right. We need to have the whole package. We can't just build a berm. We can't just spray. We've got to have a uniform plan.
Billy,
that's
where
laid
is
out.
it?
And
where is it? It's 45 days later.
It's not there.
Senator?
It's not there.
What have you spoken to the president?
The only plan I've seen, Sean, the only real plan I've seen has come out of the state of Louisiana. Local leaders like Billy, the governor, they have come up with plan after plan after plan. The only thing the federal agencies have done is throw up roadblocks. We need a partnership so that we use the tremendous assets of the federal government and BP to accelerate this, not just slow it down.
Yeah, well, I find it interesting. Spike Lee saying, well, the rap now is the president. He's so cool under pressure that he hasn't been able to emote or show enough emotion to the American people. I don't think it's going to fly when he's going to concerts. He's throwing state dinners. He's hanging out at the Washington Correspondents' Dinner. He's playing golf, and he's having basketball photo shoots. Mr. President, it's time for you to organize and get the right people down to Louisiana. People are losing jobs, industries are being destroyed, and our environment's suffering. And frankly, I don't think they put the attention that is necessary. Guys, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Opportunity to do things that you could not do before. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. Opportunity to do things that you could not do before. You never want